What's up everyone, Max here, and I wanted to make another quick video for you guys about something you might have seen a couple of days ago. There is nothing interesting happening in the screen of this video at all. There's no cute dog sitting next to me. There's nothing flying around in the background on a green screen, because I wanted to talk about something that should be discussed. So what you guys were seeing in one of the previous videos is me going through some Xbox Live messages, and a specific person that sent me a message that isn't amongst the usual that I receive, and was going into a little bit of detail of his thoughts and feelings on what I do and for the community, and they weren't exactly as positive. So let's go ahead and take a look at the message right now. I'm not going to reveal the name of this person because the purpose of this video isn't to flame or bash said person. It's about the conversation that happens after. So let's take a look at it really quick. So from this, like I said, I don't want to cause any flaming or bashing or anybody going after this guy for whatever reason. It's an opinion and people are entitled to their opinions. However, I would like to explain where this person is coming from. I'm not going to answer his regard directly because I don't think it really deserves a response. However, I will answer the conversation that happens after, and it's about the mentality of people and the mentality of people in the fighting game community that have towards certain other members of the fighting game community. So the big difference between me and a lot of channels is that what I do with me playing fighting games and making video content around said fighting games on this channel is different from others, because when I make content, my focus is around the games first and then the players that play the games second. Where a lot of other YouTube comments, or I'm sorry, YouTube content or fighting game content in general, whether it's websites or whatnot, they focus around a lot of the players and how the players are playing the game and the aspects of them engaging the community and their strive to win and stuff like that. I wholeheartedly endorse that, and that's what actually brings a lot of hype to the fighting game community and makes the games last. However, my focus is around the games. I really like the design, the aspect, the sounds, the noises, the backgrounds, the art, and the music of certain fighting games, and the characters especially. You guys know me, I love characters. When I get attached to that stuff, it just reminds me of growing up with that stuff, drawing those things when I was a kid, and things like that. That's the kind of passion that I want to share with people, and then I expose them to the fighting game scene, the community, help people try to get into the competitive scene, because, like I said many times before, getting good at a fighting game and having that character be like an extension of yourself on screen is a really cool feeling, and it's one of the best competitive gaming experiences you can possibly have. So I encourage people to go to the scenes and support their communities and to go out and play fighting games. So this guy's definitely under the impression that, because of that, there's a lot of people that aren't good at fighting games out there right now that have gotten into fighting games because of me, and they're trying to get into the scene, and people are upset by it. So this has been a frequent mentality in the fighting game community. The term of scrubs, the term of noobs, where anybody that's brand new to a game is a scrub, which is not exactly what a scrub is. That's the same thing, that's the same way of saying in a Call of Duty game that everybody's a camper. It's the same exact term, which when people tell me that the fighting game community and the Call of Duty community have nothing in common, I see similarities so frequently that it just blows my mind. And that's just one of them. So nonetheless, going into these players that have been in the fighting game scene since 2009 or whenever, way earlier, and they're exposed to some people that for some reason get into the scene because of me, or watch my videos and get into a certain fighting game and then go out to compete because of me, and they maybe, I guess, talk about me like I'm really good. I've never expressed the fact that I'm amazing at fighting games. I used to be fairly good. However, I was never an extreme competitor. I've never had the time or the dedication to getting as amazing at one specific fighting game, except maybe Third Strike back in the day. Nonetheless, it's this mentality towards these people that are trying to get into something and you don't let them. The reason it's so prevalent in the fighting game community in the FGC is because of the roots of where we come from. For anyone that has been in the FGC before this FGC term eventually came along, a couple years ago, we were folks that spent our blood, sweat, tears, and money on arcade machines learning how to play a fighting game. That's how it went. There was no training mode. There was no console version. There was just you in an arcade full of people much older than you, much younger than you, and a variety of ethnicities all over the place. And you had to fight against them. And whether you were an outgoing person, a social person, kind of dictated how well you did sometimes, or how not well you did, or how the scene was interpreted by you. It's kind of hard to go into that mentality nowadays because of the internet, because of the way people are communicating with each other in our current day and age. When the fighting game community exists as we know it right now, at things like Wednesday night fights, at Big 2, at local tournaments and stuff like that, it more calls back to the older age of fighting games, the arcade scene. The thing is, with this arcade scene, if you wanted to get into this scene, if you wanted to be somebody that everybody knew about, or knew that you were coming, or it was like that guy using those characters, you had to prove it to yourself. And you had to prove it to yourself and to the people around you. And if you didn't do so, you were nothing. You were literally a random kid playing a video game, and no one gives a shit, and they're gonna beat the hell out of you. Not physically, it's a video game. So what happened with this is that this mentality grew, and I was amongst those people at the day. Like, you don't welcome newbies unless they learn how to play the game. You don't welcome these people and you don't give them tips and advice. That was the arcade mentality back in the day. They have to earn it. They have to earn their way through the fire and flames into the arcade scene. That sounds intimidating, and to be honest, it is. It's something that is very hard to deal with, which is why the fighting game scene in the arcades, well, once the arcades died down, it kind of died down as well. There were scenes for fighting games. There were people still playing Tekken. Tekken games were still coming out. There were scenes for Guilty Gear, but they're small. There wasn't a lot of people. There would be less than a few thousand for the most part. This is until Street Fighter 4 came out and things really changed. However, the mentality of the folks that were still in the fighting game community, that mentality still stayed. That you have to prove your way through by being good at the game. And that was the only way you could really do it. You had to be good, and you had to provide something to the people around you. And I've tried to change that with my channel and the videos I make. Not as much I tried to change that history and that culture, because I think it's a rich culture and I think it deserves to be preserved in some way. But at the same time, it's hard for new people to understand that. And it's really hard for new people to get into a fighting game because of it. So what I've done here is try to change that. Try to change the way that people get into fighting games, to really address the people that are having issues, are having problems, and try to make it easier on them. The entire goal of the Assist Me series was that people would have access to some knowledge and information about characters or whatnot, and they'd be able to watch something cool on the side that somebody else might not care about the game. And through that process, those people would eventually care about the game and they'd want to learn more about it. That was the biggest goal, and I guess it seems to have worked, because a lot of people say, like, I went to EVO and guys were there telling me, like, I'm at EVO because of you, and I couldn't believe it. That's the biggest motivating factor ever in making videos, is that you actually convinced something and you shared something you love with something else. So this is just a little bit of clarity as far as what I do on this channel and why I do it. It's strictly for the purposes of entertainment, to make you guys laugh at funny commentary, or, you know, me making a short episode or skits or anything like that, to make it more easy to understand of where we're coming from, of dudes in the fighting game community, and dudes like myself that grew up with that elitist kind of mentality and realize it's not really worth it. When you grow up, you realize it's kind of like cannon fodder, man. It doesn't really do anything for you, and it makes life just harder. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you think that this is a mentality that should be preserved or something I should continue with, please let me know. I don't want this guy to get flamed or trolled or anything. I think it's just a difference of understanding that this person is upset about the, you know, realities of fighting games, and the realities of fighting games are what I kind of explained, that things aren't easy. Things are very hard. It's hard to get into this community. But to be honest, guys, we're not gang members. We're not, you know, criminals. We are dudes playing video games. And I think that can be shared with almost anyone. But thank you guys very much for watching. My name is Maximilian, and I'll see you next time.